to start a campaign whose aim is to define so that you could be arrested was something entirely new in the ANC. It was not new as far as the Indian Congress is concerned, because as far back as 1913, you see, they led campaigns in which a large number of people were arrested. And then the Indian Passive Resistance Campaign of 1946 was an epic affair. And so with Africans, this was a real break from the past. Although, as I said, there had been spirited skirmishes as far back as 1918. But to have a campaign whose aim is to take people to prison was something entirely new. And it had a tremendous impact. And for 8,500 people to be arrested at the time in 1952 was no small achievement. In 1953, as we were trying to resist the removal of Safar Town, I made a speech there in which I called for a departure for a non-violent struggle, to a violent struggle, because a non-violent struggle I felt was futile under those conditions. But it was a speech, which was a bit on the reckless side, which had not been properly discussed, by the executive, not even by my close colleagues. It was an angry speech, not a well-considered policy statement. So I was rapped on the knuckles by the National Executive, quite rightly, because I was advocating a departure from accepted policy to something entirely new. And when Comrade Walter and Duma Noke left the country for a conference in Europe, I said to them, look, when you visit China, you must ask them to give us weapons. We must prepare for an armed struggle. But again, this was not something, which was well thought out. I was concerned with the question of just starting the armed struggle without even analyzing what the response of the enemy would be and whether we would be able to mount such a struggle in view of the fact that we had no independent countries around us at the time. So that it was an idea which was not well thought out. But nevertheless, we were beginning to think about this in the 50s already. When the raid took place in September that year, I was in Cape Town. In fact, they came to raid at the offices of New Age. I was there, but they didn't know who I was, and I left. And I was then arrested in the early mornings of the 5th of December by a chap called Warrant Officer Rousseau. I was already practicing as an attorney at the time. And after arresting me, then his colleague had to go and arrest somebody else. So he drove me alone, and I was sitting next to him in the front seat. We were traveling from Orlando, to my office, just opposite the magistrate court in Johannesburg. And we're just the two of us. And I say to him, what gives you the courage, to take me alone? Do you know that I can overpower you and escape? And he says, Mandela, I don't like your joke. I say, it's not a joke. He says, look, I'm armed, I'm carrying a revolver. I say, my friend, that revolver is as yours as it is mine. Do you know that I'm a boxer? Oh, he was very much upset. And when we went to my office, he was very nervous. But I assured him that, no, I'm joking. It's just a joke. But he didn't like the joke at all.